Poisonrana.
Hello.
Hello, hello, hello.
Braden Herrington here with Davie Portman for Poisonrana. You found us on whatever podcast app you use, and we are live.
Live, youtube.com/@PoisonRanaPod. Hello, everybody. Welcome.
Welcome to our newly monetized.
Monetize. Make us rich, guys.
Make us rich. All super chats are accepted now.
Super chats are accepted. Let us know what lovely commercials pop up in the middle of us talking about wrestling.
What kind of ads are they putting in that? YouTube changed their rules for smaller content creators such as ourselves, and it seems we fit the bill of allowing us to kind of make.
Let's not undersell ourselves. We fit the bill before. We just didn't realize. Yeah. We've had this conversation.
Yeah. You were telling me that we actually already had over a K subscribers, and because we record so many shows and go live so many times, that the hours watched already have accumulated. So we just never really realized that. Yeah. So we are now on. We left Twitch, we came back to YouTube. I was like, do we have to join Rumble? Gladly, we didn't have to do Rumble? That. It's like all the people that are mad at YouTube, so they went somewhere else.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Find us on Threads as well.
Follow us on all the social media. Yes. At PoisonRanaPod on Threads or Instagram. Get those numbers up, baby. We don't have too many on the Instagram because we had to delete ours a while back. Well, they just deleted it. Hopefully that doesn't happen again. So go follow us on Threads if that's what you do.
It's funny. I'm looking at trends for me on Twitter.
Right.
And it's pretty much all wrestling. We've got Punk, Sami Zayn, Rey Mysterio, Bullet Club, Blue Kane.
Yeah.
And then Jonah Hill, Harry Kane. But then
Blue Kane
Threads has been wonderful so far because I hadn't seen shit about wrestling on there. It's just it automatically followed a bunch of Instagram models. And that's been Threads for me.
So now you're just getting their thoughts on
thoughts.
Life.
It's way less controversial than wrestling, apparently.
I don't know. Harry Kane and Blue Kane sounds pretty.
Maybe Harry Kane is Blue Kane.
That probably makes more sense. Yeah. Join us on Threads if that's. Jonah Hill was trending. That's kind of weird. That's dividing the nation of like, hey, he's coming off a bit of a whatever, but then it's like also someone leaked someone leaked my text. It's over. It's game over. I'm done. Pack it up. I don't know. The world we live in, right? But yeah, follow us on Threads, Twitter, all that fun stuff, and stay connected with whatever. We'll try with the social media. Yeah. We'll try it out. It seems easy enough. It's just like Twitter, so I can see why Elon's.
But I'm like now, I've got to work out how to use it differently because I'm not just going to be someone who puts the same tweet out on Threads. Like it's got to be.
Right.
What am I? What's my voice? What voice am I going for on Threads?
On Threads?
Yeah.
Yeah. The people want to know. You post pictures of your food more.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Just non-wrestling, maybe Threads.
Okay.
I don't know.
All right. More.
Threads
Stay tuned.
My inner thoughts. You want to know my inner thoughts? It's like my diary entry.
I thought that's what Twitter kind of was.
It used to be, and now it's just a tool I use for wrestling content.
Yeah. And DMing Baron Corbin.
And DMing Baron Corbin, yeah. Maybe Baron Corbin's Blue Kane. Probably same size-ish.
Yeah, Blue Kane's probably smaller.
Yeah, is he?
Yeah.
Blue Kane's small?
Yeah.
Oh.
I don't know what Blue Kane is, but Twitter told me what it is, and then I followed him.
Every day he's trending.
Yeah. It's just some guy dressed as
We've got a whole segment
Blue
based
Kane.
on him in later, so are we just going to Blue Kane now?
I just don't...
We'll talk about him again later.
Yeah, we'll talk about Blue Kane for whatever reason. We have some other shows. Obviously, we're going to be doing another. Up next, we're going to be back on Tuesday night over on the Post feed, looking at some NXT with a big week coming up. So come hang out after the show on Tuesday.
Yeah, a bit surprising. We were going on Wednesday's show. We were kind of thinking it looks like we're doing Braun versus Ilya at the Great American Bash, and we were saying potentially maybe Finn Mello for the NXT title, but they've announced that this Tuesday it's going to be Bron Breakker versus Ilya Dragunov in a number one contenders match, which I'm super excited for that. I think NXT's been finding its groove again, and that's a match I definitely want to see. Ilya rarely misses, and I think Bron Breakker's been excellent in this heel role. So yeah, really looking forward to that. And whether we're getting a singles match or we're going to have some shenanigans and maybe some sort of three-way at the Bash, yeah, but I'm pretty excited.
Yeah, they also made it official Wesley versus Mustafa Ali. So yeah,
stacked week this week.
Yeah, this week. Well, no, that's for the Bash.
Oh, that's for the Bash.
Yeah.
Right.
But this week's gonna be good. Yeah. So looking forward to that. So we'll have a new Up Next covering that on Tuesday night after NXT. But also on this feed we have John Cena covering everything in the world of wrestling on Shot in the Dark. 15 minutes or less, he'll fill you in on everything you may or may not watch. And this guy watches a lot of wrestling. So listen to that. He did a What Up Doe with B Detroit last week, talking all about Forbidden Door. So check out that podcast. Also, they dive into AEW Fight Forever, which I finally played just for a few minutes. I played 2 matches yesterday.
How was it?
And first, like, again, 2 matches. First, like, impressions is I can see this being like pick up and play kind of fun thing. But everyone's kind of critique is it's a little bare bones, and I definitely see that. Yeah. I'm like, okay, it's not really a finished game, maybe quite yet. Yeah. But they're saying they're going to update it and keep doing that, and you don't have to buy a new one. It'll just, like, update. Then I actually think that could be pretty cool. So I'd say, like, thumbs up, but it could be on sale. It could be, yeah. It could be 2 thumbs up, but just 1 thumbs up.
Yeah, like, we really haven't dived into 2K too much yet.
No.
And, like, it's summer. Like, we game more in the winter time, so maybe I'll wait for a bit of a price drop. Who did you play as?
First character, Kenny Omega. Kenny Omega. And then I played as someone else. Oh crap, I can't remember. Oh, Penta. Yeah, and I tried the exploding barbed wire death match, and I fought Aubrey Edwards.
How was that the match?
That one's cool. It's funny. It's like it explodes. So yeah. It's just there's more explosions in that one than the real actual match. So
there are more weapons as well in this game, aren't there?
Yeah. Then the lights out match,
right?
Which is like you can use thumbtacks. And like some cool weapons and stuff. Nice. So that's pretty fun. Yeah. So like this one's like going back to it's basically No Mercy. It's just No Mercy with like new characters and stuff like that.
Same graphics.
Whereas now I'm hearing like rumblings and some people behind the scenes of Here Comes the Pain are trying to work on a like remastered version of that's more like arcadey style for the systems
for WWE.
Yeah. So there is talks that they're gonna try to like rival of that,
with that roster,
with the new roster.
Okay.
With a new WWE roster, but like in the style of that game.
But
I guess. I don't know. I don't know. Like this one, again, I only played 2 matches, but I'd say as a wrestling fan, instantly I was like, oh, this is cool.
I do want to play it. I've been wanting to. I think I mentioned I lost my cable for my PlayStation, so I haven't been able to, and I've got a new cable now, so I'm tempted, but I'm like, I don't want to drop that money. I just want to give it a go, I think, for now. And then probably wintertime play a bit more.
Yeah. Shout out KB in the chat who says, wait till they drop the Stadium Stampede update. And I'm not going to lie, that looks hilarious. Where there's like, 100 people or something? Yeah. Something crazy. I would say that's probably fun.
What I find weird is, from listening to B and Cino talk about it, is like, there are no trios matches as an option.
Tornado tag or tag ladder.
Yeah, there's no tag ladder match, but they do have like battle royal and like gonna be doing Stadium Stampede. So it's not like, you know, in the old systems it used to be, we just can't accommodate like
too many people.
Many characters,
6
like,
or 8.
Yeah. Whereas if they're doing battle royals and Stadium Stampedes, they surely can. And I think ladder. I feel like we've been having tag ladder matches since like PS2, you know, like I feel it's been around a while.
I feel like they'll fix that and they'll add stuff, and I'm sure that's that direction. And I mean, like, this company's been around for 3 years and they already have a game, which is like a bit like, okay, did you need that? But now it's like, hey, it'll help, people will play it.
I feel they made the mistake of just announcing it so early.
Yeah.
Whereas if they kind of
had
just been developing this quietly and then being like, hey, in 6 months we're dropping this game. And like, they could have waited till, you know, Christmas, have it ready with Stadium Stampede. Why are you paying for FTR? They've been in the company forever, and like, Punk's been there way less than they have, and he's in it.
Right.
And, I mean, obviously he's a star, but like, people like Abaddon are in the game, but like Acclaimed aren't. It's like weird stuff.
It's dated, yeah. It's like from year one, essentially. Like Kenny has the dancing girls with brooms in his entrance.
Right.
I'm like, okay, that's kind of like 3 years ago now. So
yeah,
but I'm sure again there'll be like updates, skins, and that's the thing in games these days. I'm too old for these things because it's like I got 30 minutes to an hour to play. Okay, let's do this. Update system. Okay, I can't do. You got to connect to do this. You got to update. You got to download this.
Yeah, we're old and grouchy when it comes.
And
to
it's
gaming.
like, sorry, I just want to play as some popular characters. Well, actually, to play those characters, you have to download this. It saves money to buy all of this for $100. It's like, whoa, I just bought the game.
I just bought this game.
Why do I need to buy more things?
Yeah.
So I'm old school. Where can I just unlock it?
Yeah, exactly.
Right? I don't know, maybe.
Like, like how did they debut? They debuted FTR. It was like, wasn't it a best friends match or something like that?
Right.
It's like you win a tag tournament as best friends and you win FTR or something like
Sure,
that.
yeah,
Like
that's
that's
the
how
way
it used to be on. And if they're trying to go for the whole no mercy vibe, stop. I paid for that game once.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I have enjoyed looking on Twitter. There've been threads of like, okay, this like creator wrestler thing is like bare bones. I think there's like 7 faces you can pick from and things like that.
Right.
Have at it. Let's do your best attempt. Don't tell us who it is, and we'll try and work out who you've tried to make. And some are pretty good. But...
Yeah, I saw some really bad ones.
Yeah.
Someone made The Rock.
Yeah, see what they're going for, but
Yeah.
it's like, oh boy.
Yeah, that's tough. So you probably won't be seeing really good WWE cause in the new AEW game until some people figure out how to patch it or whatever. Because some kids these days, when we play 2K and those created wrestlers, things are insane, man. Those like the graphics in 2K are pretty. The graphics in this aren't the best, but it's fun. It's whatever. I'd give it another shot to be fair. So, cool. And I'm sure we could have fun with it if we.
I think so.
But will I make the mistake of getting it on the Switch? Stay tuned, because I'm hearing mixed reviews. People are like, yeah, but it'll get good, and then
Sammy Guevara's been playing it on the Switch,
and he's doing all right.
Well, the thing is as well, like it always was like whenever you got like the Nintendo version, the Nintendo graphics were always a little behind because they go for more like cartoony stuff, Mario, that kind of thing. So it was always when you got like a game on the Switch or like the Wii or whatever, it just wouldn't be quite as good. But then the graphics look shit on this anyway. So it's like it looks, when I've seen people playing it on the Switch, it looks just the same as I've seen it on.
So it's like
any
I might as well just get it.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, fair. Well, there's our review of AEW
Fight Forever.
Fight Forever.
It's been a weird week because the week before, like the last 2 weeks have been crazy busy because obviously we had Forbidden Door, all the stuff going on with that. And then we had Money in the Bank last week, and we went to like Dynamite in Hamilton and all that. So there was a whole lot to talk about. This week feels like wrestling kind of took a bit of a breath. It didn't feel quite as crazy as previous weeks, and I don't feel there's quite as much to talk about this week.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing with wrestling. It never really ends. There is always stuff to talk about, but like, yeah, it was nice to not really care about too much going on because it's like there's been a lot. We've been going to live shows, and that definitely adds up. And like, there's always something. Like if you look at it, SmackDown was at MSG. They had that segment. We'll talk about it. They had Dynamite somewhere in Canada. Then Collision in Regina.
Yeah.
Samoa Joe and CM Punk fought for the 4th time, and it was to the biggest crowd they've ever had live for that match.
For that match. That is true. That is true.
So there's some pluses and some minuses, but yeah. If to quickly plug some other shows that we have going on that may or may not involve wrestling, we did a review of WWE Vengeance 2006 over on the Patreon, covering Sabu versus Cena, DX versus Spirit Squad, Edge RVD, Mick Foley and Ric Flair in a 2 out of 3 falls wrestling match, as they call it. That was a super fun review looking back to 2006. And then this week we looked at an Up Yours from family member Chris Leone, who picked the film Midsummer, featuring Florence Pugh, mushrooms, bears,
Naked
Swedish, just the best fun stuff.
Love this chat. I always find Chris really insightful with whenever we have him on the show to talk about something, and really enjoyed watching this film again and talking about it and going deep into our thoughts on cults and who is the true villain of this film. Great chat with Chris, and I highly recommend watching this film and checking out our pod.
Yeah, it's an interesting film. I know a lot of people like it. It's very unsettling.
Yeah.
The new style of horror that makes you like, I don't know, feel uncomfortable. So we review that whole movie and talk about it, and that was pretty fun. Then if you want to stay with Up Yours, guys, announcement here for a show coming up this week. We have somehow convinced Davie to do another Ninja Turtles movie review. Fire Frank, family member, BDE champion, has selected. I felt he won. We haven't gone to him in over a year.
Yeah.
We had to get him his pick, and he has selected, in honor of the new Ninja Turtles movie coming out in like a few weeks in August, Ninja Turtles 2, The Secret of the Ooze, featuring Kevin Nash as Super Shredder. So we are final. This has been one of the most requested from non-patrons, you cheap bastards. The most requested thing I get personally in my DMs, and Frank has finally selected this movie. So we will be talking about this week.
We have very different DM inboxes.
No, from our listeners are like, oh, you got to talk about wrestlers and movies, and Kevin Nash like always comes up, obviously because of this movie. So we are finally going to be talking about it, and we would love your feedback. This week we'll put up a thread in the Facebook group and on Patreon, and it'll be all about this movie. So get your questions and comments in for Secret of the Ooze, and we'll be joined by Frank later this week. And then as far as Patreon shows, we have another Patreon show coming out this week because we're just such nice people, and we're going to be doing another Was Next, where we'll be looking at sometime in early January of 2014. January
16th, I'd like to say 15th,
something like that.
January 15th, 2014. I think.
So looking at that this week over on the Patreon. So many shows just this week, and then a few weeks later is Shark Week, and it looks like we have been picked. We have our poll. That's
We're finally doing it.
Jaws. Yeah, that's right. We're gonna need a bigger boat. So lots of shows over on the Patreon, and if you spend $5 to become a friend, it means you're paying $1 a show, pennies per shows. There's so many shows in that back catalog. If you've never given us a shot, go try us out. It's only $5, and there's like 500 plus podcasts in that catalog.
We're already getting a lot of love in the YouTube chat right now from Surin and Jake, saying they loved our Midsummer episode. So thank you guys.
Thank you.
And if you're one of our pillars, one of our family members, a world champion, we did drop it behind the BDE this week. Where,
that's right.
As always, we go all over the place. We're talking about theme parks. We're talking about Jack the Ripper. We're talking about Ellen.
Yeah, we really did a
giant moths.
Oh yeah, you want to hear the story of how I fought a moth in the middle of the night? Listen to this show, and how we may fight Ellen. I'm not sure, but and solve the mystery of Jack the Ripper. And we did it, guys.
We did. Well, you think we did? Well, we'll see. We're gonna go and
we're gonna go on the Jack the Ripper tour in London.
Absolutely. And we've got one of our first super chats from Jake. Thanks very much,
Thank you, Jake.
And he's asking, how's your interest on G1 compared to past years? Yeah, so actually we weren't planning on talking about that. So thank you, Jake. Because I believe it starts this week.
Oh wow, it's already coming up then.
And the blocks have been announced. So I'm just looking at it here. I know you've got like the young block this year, which is pretty cool. Like Sonada with basically a load of the like younger stars: Ren Narita, Shota Umino, Yoda Tsuji, Gabriel Kidd, Kato Kiyomiya. That's kind of interesting. I will say I've personally lost a lot of interest in New Japan over the last few years, but seeing kind of some of the stuff they've been doing recently, they're trying to like freshen it up a bit. So I'm maybe looking forward to seeing some hidden gems and like being impressed by some new people rather than your usual like Okadas and Ospreys.
Yeah, my interest in the past few years of New Japan has definitely dropped, but especially coming after such a hot show like Forbidden Door, I'm like, oh, okay, like seeing the landscape of what's kind of going on. And Sonata's definitely not the most interesting character for me personally, but seeing a G1 with some of the different names this year does have my interest, specifically Eddie Kingston, obviously from AEW. Now he's a champion over there. I think he's super happy that they're letting him do this and wants to just give it his all.
Yeah, like we're gonna get a Shingo Eddie Kingston match.
Yeah, that's gonna be nuts.
Which sounds great.
Someone else in it, Kiyomiya.
Yeah.
Obviously the whole Okada storyline. That whole video of Okada like murdering him, like went so viral. Like so many people are like, "Oh, you like wrestling? Have you seen this video where the guy like, you know, da da da?" It's like, yeah, it's not actually real, but okay. So many people are like, "Look, it's real. He went off script." I'm like, yeah. They had a match after that was great, and they're gonna be in the G1 this year. But yeah, that is cool. You mentioned Shota.
Yeah.
Like he's someone I got my eyes on for sure because I do see big things on the horizon for Red Shoes Jr. there. But Shooter's awesome. Anyone else? Because I know there's some different names in this one.
Yeah, like Yoda Tsuji, someone who recently had a title shot, so they're clearly putting a lot behind him. They've done the new the Three Musketeers,
Right,
like,
with Shooter, right?
With I think it's Shooter, Tsuji, and is it Narita?
Narita? I can't remember now. Yeah.
But like they're all in Block A, and they're the ones to kind of look at for like who they're positioning for the future.
Yeah.
You're gonna have another Okada Osprey match in the G1.
Wow.
Osprey's in there with El Phantasmo, and they always have pretty fun matches, so I'm looking forward to that one. As you mentioned, Eddie Kingston being in there, gonna have another Ishii match there. Takagi. It's Block D that looks the most dull to me. Block D definitely looks like your like G1 blocks from a few years ago, and still some good people. But you know, Tanahashi, Naito, Goto, Zack Sabre Jr., Toru Yano, Jeff Cobb, Shane Haste, Alex Coughlin. Like that could have been a block like a few years ago. I feel.
Yeah, so there's some new names in there as well, that like some new faces that have kind of popped up, and I definitely like, this is when you kind of, for me, you kind of give people their chances when you watch them in the G1. It's like, oh man, okay, this guy, now I'm a fan of this guy going forward. And some people kind of don't live up to the hype, and you kind of maybe slip off them a little easier.
Yeah, like in the past, I'd say there'd been someone like Hangman Page, his G1,
exactly.
I thought really raised his stock.
Yeah.
And like you started to see him as like, oh, this guy could be a top singles guy. We've seen like, well, you know, in like the Super Juniors when just Shingo like just moved over from Dragon Gate and absolutely dominated.
Well, it's usually Ishii in the G1 too.
Ishii didn't have his Ishii year last year.
Yeah.
But we saw he at Dynamite the other week. He's still capable of it.
Yeah.
The 4 blocks is kind of I do prefer, just from a watching point of view, the 2 blocks, but I like what they've changed this year. I know I think they've introduced quarterfinals. They're definitely doing semifinals and finals. So that way it's going to be like, it feels more like a World Cup, this style tournament. Like you get your like group stages, and then if you get out of that, it's like knockout, which I think is cool and could lead to, I think we're probably getting a Kiyomiya Okada like semi-final.
Yeah.
And possibly setting up a rematch for, maybe that's the Tokyo Dome, you know, that match. Perhaps.
What? Kiyomiya and
Okada, maybe.
Like one-on-one?
Like if Kiyomiya beats Okada in the G1, like you can do the rubber there, or
as much as I think that would be cool, I think Okada's a little busy that weekend with a dragon.
You think Danielson
from America?
You could totally do that.
Yeah,
as well.
I would imagine that's the match. I mean, 2 nights maybe is probably what they would go for again. But
I don't think they are.
Okay, good. Actually,
it's one night, which is
kind of
better.
Yeah.
We got to enter the G1 contest as well.
The post wrestling one.
Have you? I don't think you've entered before. Have you?
You entered it for me
I
before.
entered for you. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, we can do that, but
maybe I'll do it later. Yeah. This year could be good, and we'll definitely be covering like some of it. We love to cherry pick through it. There's so much wrestling already going on, and adding a G1 is definitely going to be a lot on our plate. But when it comes to a lot of our listeners and you guys and friends and stuff that always like, oh, this match and this match and this match, you got to check out. And obviously, anyone who writes reports over at Post Wrestling, I trust their recommendations too. But we'll be joining in on the G1 fun when it kicks off, because I love some of the matches sound great, and they always deliver. And G1 definitely is the cream of the crop when it comes to that kind of style. New Japan is the best, like getting involved and watching people slap each other. I think that's what I
think that's about it. So you go into
show's over.
Show's over. Yeah. I think let's start with the biggest match of the week from last night, Collision. Joe Punk 4.
Wow.
Yeah.
This iconic rivalry coming to an end here, possibly in Regina, Canada, to the biggest crowd that this feud has ever had.
You know what? I feel like this crowd wasn't. I think it was around 5,000, maybe.
Really? I think it was like 3.
Really? Well, still, like, I'm happy for those
Yeah.
diehard 3,000 that go.
Yeah.
Like, if you're someone like Regina, you don't get wrestling come through too often.
Exactly.
And probably when you do, it's probably like more like house show vibes. And a lot of this Collision still felt like that. But if you bought your ticket and you're like, fuck, we're getting Punk Joe 2, Punk Joe 4, like, good for you.
Yeah,
like,
you got something
got to spread
cool.
the love. It can't all be in, Chicago.
Yeah, we can't keep having the same big pay-per-views and matches in Chicago. Yeah. I think I think it's pretty cool that they went this route, and a lot of fans have always called for this match to eventually happen, especially in WWE, and the timing just never was really right for that. Obviously, with Punk leaving and Joe eventually coming in, people always wanted to see this match. I think Joe, since coming back to AEW, like leaving WWE, the wrestling, he's had some bigger moments than I can honestly say in WWE. He's had a few in WWE, a few big matches. I think of like the 4-way with Brock, and I think of him wearing a poncho, and then of course his whole NXT run. But in AEW already, I'm like, man, there's some, like, him and Darby right away. I'm like, that is like some fun legendary stuff that I loved. And here he is finally fighting Punk, who obviously the whole story of Punk now coming back, and this is his show on this new show that I just have so many mixed feelings about, like, this whole CM Punk Collision show. And for them to be like, we'll just announce this match that we had waiting. We could just pull this card to say, oh, Punk Joe 4, and this is when they've like struck it, and they did it in Canada for a few thousand fans, which again is cool.
Yeah, I think actually around 2,000.
2,000?
Yeah, yesterday, like before the show, they announced 1,944 tickets with a setup of 2,824. I'm sure you had some walk-ups and things like that, so probably a little bit over 2.
Again, we went to 3 AEW shows the past few weeks here in Canada. Forbidden Door was legit, like, sellout. It was packed. It was nuts. The 300 section, everything was full and crazy. The other shows, Collision shows and the Dynamites, was not. It was very empty, considering I've been going to wrestling shows since I was like 13. So it's like, okay, it's a lot different than WWE. So one Bill Phil, as I say, is still can't fill these arenas, and I think it's kind of, I don't know. Again, I don't know if what's the problem of them not drawing. Is it stories?
I think there's a few things here.
Yeah.
Like, I think the timing has just been rough, and that's not necessarily AEW's fault. That's like, Turner want this show, and they want it on a Saturday night at 8 p.m.
Which is a bad time in the beginning of summer.
Which is tough. But also, you're starting this show like right before Forbidden Door, right before a huge pay-per-view. So it's already, look, we're trying to sell the pay-per-view.
Right.
So, and then you have like your third show is taped just because of the way your scheduling worked. You announce these sort of house shows in Canada, and you're maybe not going to the hottest areas. Yeah, like it's cool doing a Canada tour and getting more people seeing you. I also just don't think they did enough to hype this match. Like, we had the video package. They've told us kind of on commentary of why this is a big deal. If you can't have Punk in the same building or whatever as the Elite, like, there's no reason why Joe couldn't have cut a promo on Dynamite. Did we really need a Acclaimed versus Bollywood Boys and Blade for Reasons match that goes over 2 segments?
Right.
Like, I'm pretty sure that had like 2 commercial breaks or something. Like, did that need to happen? Like, could you have had Joe come out and cut, because the guy can cut a killer promo on Dynamite selling the match. Saturday nights are a bad night, but enough people stay in to watch UFC and actually pay money to see that. So you hype up Punk Joe, like, make it feel a big deal. Wrestling fans like to gather. Make this whole Collision feel big. Get your pizza and your beer in before going out, and you watch Punk Joe. And
it's interesting because you say that UFC people, that that takes away from the people watching. There's a lot of people that like both, right? Yep. So a lot of people didn't watch that last night because there was a UFC last night. I know that. My brothers were telling me, "Oh, there's a UFC today. We're watching this." And I'm like, "Oh, cool. I'm not gonna watch Punk." We watched it at like 5 a.m. this morning because you were working, and Saturday nights is really hard, especially right in the beginning of the summer when people do go out. They stay inside all winter and save money and watch wrestling on Saturday nights and movies and game and everything. When it comes summertime, we outside. Like it's hard. So to then go, don't worry, we got CM Punk, who everyone wants to talk about. Okay, let's see if this works. No, it didn't. And I like, are these ratings okay for like the Warner people, I guess, but like it still feels just like Rampage. It's Rampage, baby. And I'm like, you're just trying to call it something else, and I am like, okay,
they've just not done enough so far. I think we needed some really hot angles. It's a lot of these characters who I like Andrade, I like Miro, I like Malachi Black, but they keep coming and disappearing so much that I'm like, okay, so now if this was, Andrade's debut, like, awesome. Like, all these guys, they were like hot and fresh and just come in. Great. But it does feel like the land of misfit toys.
Yeah. Hey, tune in for Samoa Joe CM Punk 4. Wrestling fans are like, oh shit, that sounds pretty crazy. They're going to give that away for free on this new show. What else is on this show? Julia Hart in action.
Yeah.
Oh, what else is on this show? Scorpio Sky versus Action Andretti. Wow.
And both guys who've been like missing as well recently.
Don't even know what else. Oh, okay. They had the tag match. You know what? That was pretty good. They went really long, and FTR, if this is their show too now because of Punk, cool. Make this the tag team show and have more banger tag team matches like this. Like, again, the wrestling on the show was pretty good. It's so hard to make me care about it.
But even like it's 4 weeks and it's just been combinations of like these 8 guys.
That's it.
It's Bullet Club
making
Gold,
towns.
Ricky Starks, Joe, Punk, FTR. It's like just mixing that every week so far, and it's well, what did you think of the match?
Yeah, I feel like we're being like negative on the show, but I think a lot of fans see through this as like not necessarily the best idea for a new show. But when it comes down to it, like some of the stuff I watched was still pretty good. Samoa Joe and Punk, obviously a lot older, a lot slower, but I still enjoyed some of the back and forth that they had in the match. And obviously Joe doing the classic walk-off spots. Like they did throwbacks to some of the stuff that they'd done before. Again, I don't think it matched anywhere near the like quality from their earlier matches years ago. But is this like what it was like when people who watched WCW and WWF in the 90s, and when it's like 2000 or 1990 something and it's Hogan versus Roddy, and we're like, wow, these guys were great 20 years ago.
We had it on our Steamboat Flair show, didn't we? And then they had all these great matches, and then they had one in like WCW 99.
Yeah.
And you're like, it's cool. Like
it's cool that they did this years later. But
I do think Punk has been looking good, like considering he's been out for a while. I do think he's wrestling the same way I remember him wrestling. Like Joe has slowed down a bit, but it's still like he's got his like weight and power and still like just his I love his cockiness and just attitude in matches. I did enjoy the match. As you said, it wasn't a patch on the other ones. I think they could have hyped it up way more than they did and make it feel like a huge main event. Something I have liked with Collision, and I don't know if this is just strategic camera angles to hide lack of crowd.
It is.
But that being said, I've enjoyed the different kind of shots they've used that we don't see on Dynamite, and they use it a lot in this match. Like the camera behind one guy peering through to see the other guy in the corner, some overhead shots. It's making it look and feel a little different, and that's something I will say. Collision so far, I like that I do feel it has a bit of a different feel. It's got a different voice, obviously, with commentary, which makes it feel a little different. The red and yellow's working, and I've been liking these different camera angles and stuff. So I think that's been cool for me, but it needs a injection of some just more star power, I think, than just
you can't just have Punk, FTR, and Bullet Club Gold. Like, you need different characters and actual stories, and I think that's what's, to me, I think that's what's lacking with them, and the ticket sales and the interest and the stories is what WWE's is doing really well right now. Like, storytelling, the matches have gotten better, obviously. We can all attest to that, but like saying like, oh, they've improved, but the storylines have been like solid, and AEW, I don't think they're doing that. When everyone just wanted to talk about Punk, and then as soon as he comes back, what's he doing?
They need
farting around. Yeah, what's he doing? What's the story? There is no story. I'm back.
I mean, so Joe choked him out at the end there, so I do feel we're going back to that. Joe Punk 5. Yeah, eventually happening, and a bit more like mustard on it. I bet they would slap the hell out of each other. So I think that promoting eventually them fighting one more time. You can't have that be the last time they fought. No, I mean, if you're doing Punk MJF in Chicago for the title, do you do that at Wembley? Punk Joe 5.
Sure. Yeah, if you're not doing Punk MJF at that show. Yeah.
I do. The other things you had Malachi Black kind of cutting a promo in a dark room on Andrade. This whole thing about the mask. He took Andrade's mask, and Andrade's pissed about that. That's not
some great stories there.
Not particularly compelling to me. And also they're doing the thing, and Tony Khan's so guilty of this. It's we'll make you you're a champion now. You're a singles champion. Let's put you in a tag team. Oh, you're a trios champion. How about we put you in singles feuds now?
Yeah.
Like, why? Like, it's maybe it's building to an LFI, like
LFI.
Yeah.
What's LFI?
LFI. Rouge Andrade.
Oh man.
Preston Vance. Those lines.
No, I had no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah, maybe it's leading to them versus House of Black.
That's what they're called.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Los Faction Ingobernable.
Okay.
Maybe it's leading to like that trios down the line, but right now it just feels like they're setting up Black Andrade, which is cool, but like, why? They've done it. Like, Darby was TNT champion. Let's put him in a load of tag matches with Sting.
They know how to book champions.
Yeah, it's bizarre.
Yeah,
it is.
It's bizarre. Like the story ends when they're champion, and it's just like, what do we do now? So
it looks like Powerhouse Hobbs has left QTV. He lost to Ricky Starks with a bit of a distraction from QT. So Hobbs was pissed, went to beat up QT after. Aaron Solo steps in, so he spinebusters him and walks off. So thank God Hobbs has left
QTV.
Thing. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a sinking ship.
And it's gone where we think it's going with Starks and Punk in the final.
Yeah, so you're still thinking Punk turns heel?
I hope so.
Yeah, that would make a lot more sense and give definitely like the little bit of an injection there. But yeah, again, like Collision, it's 2 hours of more wrestling. They're going to make money off of it, sure. But seeing there's not a lot of people showing up to this, it's on Saturday. It's a hard time to watch for some people. I still thought it had some good stuff on it.
That being said, it should be a better night for live attendance. It should be worse for TV, but like Saturday night, let's go to the wrestling, let's go out after, that kind of thing. And it is definitely, I can imagine when, seeing them announce the things and, what's in my town? You're hoping for a Dynamite. Oh, I got a Collision. All right, I guess I go. And I think you'd have had fun last night with the main event and the tag match, which the tag was pretty, we put it on in the background before recording, and it was pretty solid, especially those like last 5 minutes and all the near falls.
So it was an eliminator match, and they have a title shot now, which I assume...
have a title shot, and we also have a tournament going on for a title shot for the tag titles as well.
What? Yeah, so, some confusing things going on, but Collision was all right. It's still something I cherry pick through, to be honest, and it's gonna be tough.
Just the time with me working, like I'm never probably gonna watch this fully front to back. Which is just, and Dynamite, I make sure I do.
Exactly. Yeah.
I'm sorry I didn't see Scorpio Sky versus Action Andretti.
I did not either.
I'm sure it was a classic.
Yeah. Regina's best match ever.
Well, let's go on to Adam Cole's birthday.
Yeah, I mean, you want to talk about some storytelling in AEW?
Proper show.
Yeah.
With proper storytelling.
You know what? I could see a lot of people not liking this as a story, but definitely MJF, is, I think, good at storytelling. Some of the best storytelling AEW's done is involving MJF, and again here doing the classic, can they coexist, can they be friends, but done a little bit differently. We've seen MJF like mess with people before in AEW and becoming friends and team partners and all this stuff. We obviously know where it's going, so it's like every time you do, you kind of strap in, but then he makes you laugh. Like MJF reminds me of like Stewie Griffin and Kendall Roy like put together or something. It's like he's psychotic.
Yeah.
And I love it.
Yeah.
But then when it comes time to it, I hate you. I am mad at you. You're a bad guy. So that makes some of the best movie characters ever. So it makes for one of the best wrestling characters. And I like that he makes me laugh when he does a really good job at that. And some of the stuff with Adam Cole and him last week, I was like, I shouldn't like this, and then I kept watching it, and I really got into it.
It was my favorite part of Dynamite. Yeah. All these segments.
Yeah, like
the going to the gym.
Yeah, the first one, right?
Lifting and making fun of Puff. And I like how so much in wrestling, it's like, I'm a good guy now. Forget about everything I ever did. And I like how they're presenting Adam Cole as, I'm a bit of a prick as well. Like I've like seen the error of my ways, and I'm trying to be a better person, but I'm still a prick. I'm still going to make fun of Tony Schiavone.
Yeah, that was the best part.
And I like how this story's almost a little meta, because it's, whereas we're going Eddie Thorpe, Damon Kemp, Gable Steveson on NXT, and it's like, well, Gable Stevens gonna turn on Eddie Thorpe. Like, it's gonna happen. Whereas here it's, Adam Cole knows MJF is fucking with him.
Yeah.
MJF knows Adam Cole knows that he's fucking with him. But, like, also deep down, I think both of them are like, actually, I'm kind of enjoying your company.
We're both the same, you and I.
Like Cole at the end of the birthday thing, it's like, even if you did this to fuck with me, no one else bought me streamers, a cake, and a party hat today and sang to me, so thank you.
Yeah.
I think it's really funny, and we've seen MJF do these kind of stories before with like Jericho and to a lesser extent Sami.
Yeah.
And you could go like, oh, going to the well again. It's like you either become friends with them or you make them run a gauntlet of matches.
Right.
But I'm still super entertained with it, and I think these two, it's getting Adam Cole, like, we're seeing more of that personality that we've seen before in NXT and stuff from him from this feud.
Yeah, and when they finally do that double clothesline next week, the pop should be good. It should be a reaction.
I mean, I'd save it for the final.
Right, they should win the titles.
You could,
and that's how.
And then they have to face Bullet Club Gold.
With
well, we know MJF is he's been on Collision. Adam Cole seems to be cool with Punk, so that's
the link there, right?
Like
MJF Cole leading to Punk MJF.
Yeah, so you could always do, like, if the Blind Eliminator tournament, that winner faces FTR first, you could do the switch.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's kind of fun for the story to have MJF as a double champ and these guys as, like, the tag champs.
Damn.
You know?
Okay.
Maybe.
Interesting. Because eventually you got to go to MJF Cole.
Yes.
Like the rematch. Right?
I mean, whether that's Wembley as well.
Okay. True.
It's weird, the back-to-back thing, isn't it? Like, all in, all out.
Well, All In's not a pay-per-view, and All Out is. So, like, it'd just be silly not to have the biggest matches on that show.
I feel I don't think you're gonna, like, 75,000 people so far for All In, whether it's free TV or pay-per-view or what, you've got to put huge matches on that show. Yeah. But whether it's like, you know, Ospreay Kenny 3 is big enough for that show that we could do something lesser, like a Cole MJF and then the MJF Punk in Chicago. I feel you've got to do Punk in Chicago, really. Yeah. As repetitive as that is, it just makes more sense, and especially from a pay-per-view standpoint.
Yeah. Where do people see it? At Poison Rana Pod. What are the proper ways to book the two weeks in a row of, like, possible big matches? And obviously we're going to All In, which would feel like the WrestleMania, even though it's probably going to be on the daytime TV. It's just going to be Collision during the day because of the time change. I think you'd get a lot of views on it. I think a lot of people.
I think it should be on TV.
Yeah.
I think TNT middle of the day on a Sunday, like, could do big numbers. I think. I just love that picture of Adam Cole in the hat there.
Adam Cole in the hat. Yeah, the streamers. I love how it all went over on MJF and not on him. Like, that might have been purposely done, obviously.
It was just so silly. I just kept looking up and like seeing these two. It's the fact Adam Cole's like both are in their gear.
Yeah.
Like, which is just like pants and like these party hats.
Yeah. I enjoyed this segment, and kind of looking ahead to this week, they're supposed to face my new favorite team, the Big Lads, Brian Cage and Big Bill.
Hell yeah.
And they're supposed to face them, and MJF is like, oh, actually, it looks like I'm sick now too. I'm not gonna be able to make it. And they've been like spatting on Twitter, basically like, no, you're making this
I don't
match.
feel a double clothesline will beat these two.
No, I don't know. Their move is Brian Cage power bombs the guy while Big Bill clotheslines the guy at the same time, because he's so tall that he can reach. And it's like, damn, these guys. I think they found it. I think they found each other.
Yeah.
I think they found each other. Big Bill and Big Cage.
I just wish. I wish this blind eliminator tournament was a little bit more random.
Yeah.
Like, you've got like conveniently Swerve and Our Glory back together. Orange and Cassidy, who've already been partnering. These two partnering.
Jericho Society.
Yeah.
People.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Sami and Garcia. And then like the only really weird ones are the ones where it could be anyone and they're just jobbing, and that's Matt Menard and Butcher.
It's just weird.
Magic Meat.
Imagine you're a tag team and you're like, well, the fuck? Like, can't we just have a tag team tournament with all these other teams?
But we've seen that.
Yeah.
Like, I do like the concept. I just think they haven't had as much fun with it as possible. You should have a lot more weirder pairings and mixing up actual tag teams a bit more.
Yeah.
You know, like, wouldn't it be like, I know they've all got their own things going on, but like, you know, Nick Jackson's partnering Dax Wheeler, Dax Harwood. Yeah. Like, that's kind of stuff where it's like, oh shit. Like,
yeah, you know what? In TNA years and years ago, when they were like getting heated up, they did that with a bunch of their tag teams. They kept having like tag team matches and 3-way tag matches. So finally there was something where you gotta partner with like your enemies. You gotta switch around, and then they would become champions, and it was pretty interesting. So like, yeah, I guess the like execution of like, oh, MJF and Cole are randomly, it was maybe a little too like phony. I think there could have been different things they could have went, like, now knowing in the future if this could be a thing, think about it just a little bit more and it could probably pan out just a bit better as well. But I think it's working, I guess, with MJF and Cole, because I do like the storyline. Again, do you draw this out for weeks, having them become tag team champions if they beat FTR? Like, would that happen? You're saying that would be a bit more interesting. I kind of agree, but like, what's FTR's like next few months, right? Like, what's their all-in show, big match? Like, I
would hope the Bucks, but I don't see that being the direction necessarily.
Yeah, I mean, maybe.
Something I liked on this week's Dynamite was the video package for Nick Wayne.
Yeah,
debuting next week against Swerve. We know they're like kind of from the same like Seattle area and have faced before, but I thought they did a really good job with this, and Darby kind of being the guy presenting Nick Wayne, who is probably going to be like Darby's had one now. Yeah, like
Sting, Darby, and Nick Wayne.
Qui-Gon, Obi. So this is Anakin right
here.
Oh
God.
Yeah,
the chosen one, Nick Wayne. This is
going to be the biggest heel in pro wrestling.
Wow,
Nick Wayne.
Calling it now.
I thought they did a really good job here, like explaining who he is, who his father was, and like how much that family means to Darby and why he brought him in, showing him being given the contract at a Defy show, I think.
Years ago.
I thought this was pretty cool, and did a better job hyping Nick Wayne, I think, than they did hyping Joe Punk.
Yeah, absolutely. I think this is pretty cool. This kid's just turned 18 like a little while ago, and now with this being able to wrestle, they've actually promoted this match months ago on social media. Swerve and him said, your first match in AEW will be against me in Regina. And it's like, oh, that's kind of weird, but it's happening. And I think this kid is pretty great. From any time we've seen him, we got the chance to briefly see him at GCW in Toronto, and we were like, oh yeah, this kid's definitely got something for sure. So it's interesting to see where he goes.
I imagine probably this is building to a Swerve Darby feud.
Yeah.
Which I think sounds great.
Yeah.
I think Swerve has this real like meanness as a heel. Like, he seems like a proper villain.
Yeah.
And you know, Darby is someone who will do the craziest shit. So I think you could see like
Swerve does some crazy stuff too.
Like, I could see this being like building to a coffin match, Darby Swerve.
Whoa.
Like, that's kind of Darby's specialty.
Yeah.
He's had 2 so far, I think.
Yeah.
Andrade and the Ethan Page one. I could see this being building to that.
Sure.
With Nick Wayne being involved.
Yeah. I think Swerve beats him, but I think he'll impress everyone come Wednesday.
Absolutely.
I definitely am interested in that. Yeah, I love the video for that. And you're right. They didn't really hype up Samoa Joe and Punk on Dynamite to like make
They
me
had one video package.
It didn't make it feel like, I go to postwrestling.com and I see stuff from Pollock and like then you go, oh, like he promoted that match, but AEW I didn't find did it too well.
Yeah.
What else was on Dynamite?
What else was on Dynamite? Well, we did have Britt Baker taking on Ruby Soho in the Owen Hart Foundation tournament in quite the match.
We were robbed of this match.
Yeah.
Were we?
We were robbed of this match.
From last week.
Yeah.
She was sick.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I wasn't too into this. I actually, I'll admit, I think the Outcast thing is working. I'm a fan of Tony Storm, and I'm a fan of Ruby Soho. I used to be a big fan of Paige in AEW, not too much, but now with them being the heels and having Tony as the champ makes me like it more than if it was just Saraya as the champ and not doing most of the legwork. It's actually Tony who's putting on stuff and Ruby putting on good matches. This one wasn't necessarily one of them, but I do like the story going with the Outcasts and being the heels and everything. But yeah, this one didn't click for me.
I thought this match was pretty bad.
Yeah, for Dynamite goes, I was expecting a lot more out of Britt and Ruby, and
yeah, it was a little clunky in places, but like the interference was way too much. This was like fucking evil and Dick Togo
House of
kind
Torture?
of shit here. Yeah. It was way too much. It made the ref look so stupid. The amount of like distractions and interference and stuff going on, and the ref just like looking at it at some points.
Yeah.
I feel like this happens a lot in AEW, these distraction finishes, but this match had like 10 of them. I was almost expecting Jamie Hayter return here to kind of even the odds, and I wonder what her status is, because it would be a real shame if she's not on that All In.
Oh yeah, I hope she makes it back for that. I mean, we have Sky Blue now, kind of coming out at the end, going up against Ruby, so that's the next match.
Next round.
I think that'll be a better match. I've been liking Sky Blue a lot. Again, I was expecting something from this. Britt was a huge star here when it comes to the women's division, and Ruby is pretty safe in the ring and puts on some pretty good stuff. So this should have been good, and it wasn't. But
yeah, just too much of Outcast. They're not doing it for me quite as much as for you. But like, just I wonder if we get this Jamie return soon, because I can see Britt after this loss still kind of feuding with the Outcast.
like, should All In just be Tony Jamie?
Yeah,
Right?
absolutely.
That should be the match.
Yeah.
We've seen it before, and it's awesome. So
Exactly.
yeah, I'm interested in that because I like where it can go with Tony. Again, I've been liking Tony. Ruby is a good, side tag partner, and Saraya's just there. But I would like to see Jamie and Tony.
And then we had the main event, Kenny Omega taking on Wheeler Yuta. Kenny being 0-3 since Callis turned on him.
Damn.
And Wheeler Yuta obviously getting that pin on him in Anarchy in the Arena.
I pinned Kenny Omega in the main event.
And yeah, this was a lot of Kenny selling the effects of the Ospreay match, his neck in particular, and kind of doing the like clearly been looking at his Sabu doing some planned botches here based around the neck, like the you can't escape,
Right.
like stumble and stuff like that.
Yeah. He's good.
He's good. I thought Wheeler Yuta looked great as well. For me, the match didn't click for me right away. It was kind of the final stretch I really started getting into it. I thought it took a little bit of time to warm up for me, which I was surprised with considering it's these two. But another like really solid Dynamite match with Kenny.
Yeah, great match. I love Wheeler Yuta. I would say he's got the grumpy BCC face down, but he doesn't have quite the move set yet. That shows me you're that killer. Daniel Garcia stopped being a pro wrestler to become a sports entertainer. Excuse me. And it's working. He's got like some like side antidotes in his ripples of his character. Wheeler Yuta's still just the young pup who's scrappy and is a good wrestler. I still am not seeing like kind of like the next evolution. When I watched him wrestle Kenny Omega in the last 10 minutes of the matches, they went like 16 minutes, but like it was like good and he's great and he can hang with some of the best wrestlers going, and it shows. That's why he's put in these positions. But there's still something I'm like, I feel like you'll be a star down the line, but something's still like, I don't believe you're that mean guy in this.
It'll take time. I think it's like, it's gonna take when like the BCC eventually start feuding with each other.
Right.
And I think that's when you'll see Yuda. Like, he had those great matches with Moxley that really helped.
Right, yeah.
But he's young. Like, it's gonna, like...
He's great,
I think
yeah.
you don't need to rush it, and I think he has been, like... And I think picking that win at Anarchy in the Arena is a really good move for him.
But no, I love this match, and Kenny getting the One-Winged Angel and hitting in Canada is always good to see. The crowd does love him in other places, so he's definitely like the big Canadian star. But yeah, I enjoyed this match and definitely made me go, oh, okay, that kind of saved that Dynamite a little bit, because there wasn't a lot of outside MJF stuff. There wasn't too much I enjoyed.
Yeah, I liked the so there was a big beatdown at the end.
Yeah.
And they kind of said about how like Eddie's away in the G1, Danielson has his arm broken, and so Claudio runs out for the beatdown to Keshta as well.
Yes.
And they did confirm it's going to be 5-on-5, so 2 mystery men. Eddie's out, Danielson's out. Who are we going? Kota?
Is it Kota Ibushi? I think it is now. Like, this has to be it. Like, Kenny, after the show went off the air, did cut a promo basically saying, like, someone's close to me is coming in. So
I can't see who else it would be.
No,
for
it
BCC.
has to be.
And are we assuming Jericho with BCC with the Don Callis?
Yeah.
Segment there, which was a little interesting.
Yeah, so Jericho says maybe.
Yeah.
And maybe I'll join you. And that means, hey, maybe you do a favor and help these guys out. Or is it CM Punk, who for some reason people are reporting he wants to be involved in this match?
I feel this is Punk being a bit of a shit disturber. Like, all the times he's been like, oh, I've tried to talk to the Elite. Like, it seems, reading between the lines, there are actual legal reasons why they can't be in a room together.
Sure.
They can't talk. That's what it sounds like.
Right.
You know, so, but it's all very well Punk being, I'll team with Mox to face the Elite. Yeah.
I don't think he wants to team with you either.
And it's like, oh, they don't want to.
Right.
But that would have been cool. Like, it would, kayfabe wise, that makes a hell of a lot of sense. Punk teaming with these guys to take on the Elite.
Yeah.
Because they got beef. Yeah, I can't see who else it can be for BCC. Like, there's Shooter, but he'll be doing the G1.
Yeah.
And, like, it would also be, as much as it makes sense, be a bit of a letdown. Like, oh, who?
Yeah. As much as we love him, yeah. For storyline-wise, AEW, he's only been featured, like, once or twice.
Yeah. Blue Cane, could it be?
Blue Cane's busy, hopefully working indie dates with Matt Cardona.
Making it snow.
Yeah. I don't know. Jericho, I guess, is the
Jericho
one.
It probably makes the most
When
sense.
I think of Blackpool Combat Club, I think of Chris Jericho.
I'm trying to think off roster who, but like you can't really have any New Japan guys right now.
Yeah.
I guess Jericho just seems such a weird.
You can't have Ospreay
fit in it.
Because like Ospreay, Kenny would make sense, but
like it would be more interesting in a way for like.
Well, sorry to cut you off, but also people are saying that that Yuda got injured in this match as well.
Oh, really?
Kenny, and maybe that he won't make it, but it looks like he might be. It's something to do with his leg or something. But hopefully he's in this match.
Like, story-wise, it would be interesting, but this isn't going to happen because they've all got their own things going on. Like, Daniel Garcia being kind of pissed off with Jericho, like, potentially leaving JAS.
Right.
And being like, these guys wanted me in the first place.
Yeah.
And join them. That would be awesome.
Yeah.
But he seems tied up with like.
But
Sami
also,
stuff.
they're supposed to be heels, right? The BCC.
Yeah.
So you wouldn't necessarily.
So is Garcia right now.
Yeah, I feel like that would be the babyface turning moment if you were to like do that. But so
it feels like they're trying. It all seems backwards because they're trying to turn Sami, the babyface.
Yeah, it's a little wobbly.
The heel.
It's a little all over the place, like kind of.
But this is coming up in 2 weeks, so I guess we'll find this week on Dynamite.
Yeah, do we see? Do they say it's gonna be Kota? Do we just assume it's gonna be Kota Ibushi? Does he show up?
Do you like? You would feel like a Boston crowd would like give Kota Ibushi a reaction, right?
We hope so.
So like you could announce Jericho next week and then have Ibushi as the surprise
Right.
on the day, but I don't know.
All leading to Chris Jericho versus Kota Ibushi at All In.
Exactly. Yeah. Completely dropped the Sting stuff, didn't they?
Yeah.
And it almost feels like maybe it was just pandering to where were they?
Canada.
No. Province.
Edmonton, Calgary.
Yeah. Maybe it was pandering to them, but he seemed like he was turning babyface this week as well.
Yeah,
I thought.
but that's because he's here. And then the Don Callis stuff is like, oh, actually, maybe it makes sense if I do join you and Will Ospreay. He's loves staying relevant, this Chris Jericho, and he's pretty good at it.
Yeah.
So we'll see what that is. But yeah, that could be good.
Anything else from AEW this week?
Yeah, I feel like they're just kind of really cold, and I'm not sure what it is. Like I love Young Bucks, Hangman, and I'm like not feeling what's going on. They're getting no reaction. They're getting not a lot of reaction. So what's to be like once I'm actually really excited for Blood and Guts to be over, so we can move away from BCC and the Elite.
Just focus on what is this Wembley show.
Yeah, let's focus on like some big matches and stories, and don't repeat the same story going every week with the BCC and Elite. I don't think it's necessarily hitting. Like I think it's run its course. So let's end it and then move on from that. And if something like Kota Ibushi coming in from that, then that can spiral off into him, having a match, or him and Kenny versus, someone and someone. But I guess we'll see. Like, what's the Golden Lovers versus, someone else at All In? Maybe that's like the match. But I'd rather Kenny.
Do Kenny Ospreay.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah. Like Ospreay would have made sense as well if it wasn't for the G1.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, for BCC.
Yeah. Well, let's move on. Oh, I did enjoy that Beal from Keith Lee to
Darby
as well.
Yeah,
just wanted to put that out.
Yeeted him.
Let's move over to WWE. Roman Reigns was put on trial in tribal court.
You can't handle the truth.
He look at that picture. Bends the knee to Jey Uso.
Not only bending the knee, bending the sneaker. Look at that. That's how you know.
Yeah.
Dudes these days take off their sneakers when they propose because they don't want to crease the shoe. Roman here showing
Roman's got the money.
He can afford
these. It's a flex, literally. Here.
Yeah. Flexing on the shoe.
Yeah.
Bending the shoe. I don't care. I'll just buy another one.
So yeah, Jey Uso getting the pin over Roman at Money in the Bank, and they put Roman on trial, showing all the times he's been manipulating them, gaslighting them.
Classic.
And going way back, also putting stuff in there of when he fired and hit Paul Heyman. So kind of show the ways, man. Hey, it's not just been to us, it's to you. Showing stuff with Solo as well. It's like the elders sent you, but you listen to me. And which was actually one of the moments I really liked in the tag match when I think was it Jay or Jimmy kicked out? Or was it the stacking kick out?
Yeah.
And Roman's like, I don't know what to do, sitting there. And Solo's the one yo, come on, let's do this. So I think they've teased that kind of well. But then Roman punching Jay in the dick and beating the shit out of Jimmy, sending him to hospital. And then big closing angle, Jay getting his revenge, attacking both Solo and Roman with the chair and calling out Roman Reigns for the title.
So it's Jay Roman at SummerSlam.
Not confirmed yet, but that's the direction
we assume,
which makes sense.
Yeah. I watched this segment. This was a long segment.
Yeah.
It's it's got their entrances. Roman takes 12 minutes to get to the damn ring.
Yeah.
And then the video package that you mentioned, and then going back, they went to break and then they come back. It's they're CSI here.
The bloodline of the draw. Yeah. Let's have them over 4 segments of this 2-hour show.
Yeah, it's like Law and Order. Play the sound effect, ding ding, and they come back. It's Tribal Chief, you are on trial. I've definitely not been into the bloodline as much. Like I said of the Elite and BCC, it's a little too much of the same thing every week, and definitely not have my attention span. But I will say there is still good stuff in it. I love Roman, Solo, and the Usos being able to do this. Excuse me. All being able to do this together in these storylines and kind of killing it and nailing it and getting huge crowd reactions. And it's clearly working. It's got to be one of the biggest, most popular storylines in the least last 10 years, if not for a while. I saw some discourse online, people being oh, it's the best wrestling storyline of all time, and I definitely disagree with that. But I'm like, yo, for this era, like, it's definitely up there. I personally could like move away from it, and I think we will come like after SummerSlam. I would imagine he beats Jay. Maybe Randy Orton comes back. We go into that feud for some of the bigger PLEs in the fall. Eventually, maybe Solo gets his shot at Roman. He also, when Roman has absolutely no one and has to go up against Cody at WrestleMania 40, that's when he loses the title.
Yeah, like you can do a Jimmy TV match maybe, and then Solo. I'd say you do that around Rumble. Elimination Chamber time. So Randy Survivor Series. If he's back, if he's healthy, I think that makes sense. That seems fresh. What I really like about this feud, and maybe others feel the opposite, and that's why it feels like this is just dragging on forever.
Yeah.
I like how each feud has bled into the next one. So often in wrestling, it's like you have the Roman beats Cody or whoever, and then the next night someone random just comes out to challenge and start a new feud, and it's like starting here.
Yeah.
Whereas each feud they've had is kind of overlapped into the next one, which like has made kind of logical sense. And just now we've sort of mapped out where it can go to Mania. You've got the Solo Sikoa like connection there.
Yeah.
So, and I do like how they've done that, and I think that's where like I give them credit, because wrestling does get lazy. You do go, oh, you're just a baby face now for reasons, and that's it. Like, and we'll forget everything you did. And that match is over now. They've moved on. So it's still like one of the most compelling things in WWE right now. And I do try and check out those segments every week.
Me too. I have to, because it's like it's huge right now, and they are, and it's the main story going in wrestling, right? So I have to. I still love it. I still love wrestling so much, and that they're doing a good job, because I go, as silly as this is, Roman and his overacting, like, oh my god, he makes me howl. So I don't know if that's a good or bad thing, but I'm tuning in, so it's working. And like even the getting down on one knee, like, oh my god. So I know where this is going already. Yeah. It's like, it's so funny.
It's great though.
So like, as much as I think it's ridiculous, like, I am still enjoying it. Absolutely. I'm trying to think of what else I watched from WWE.
So we had Edge versus Grayson Waller.
You had that on, so I watched that with you yesterday. Yeah, that was all right.
Edge kind of giving Waller
the rub
up the end, a bit of respect after. I want to see Waller succeed on the main roster. I think Money in the Bank was a step forward for him. I think they have kind of fumbled him a little bit so far. But I like him. I think he can go in the ring, and he can be a good heel on the
He needs to be a bit meaner, right?
They need to let him loose a little more, and maybe less or something.
He was at that show, Money in the Bank,
absolutely.
So definitely in the right direction.
That was all right. EO just keeps on trying to cash in.
Yeah, so she's trying to cash in the Money in the Bank. I think we get the Bayley match at SummerSlam, I guess, because it's not Asuka EO at SummerSlam.
So I think it's Asuka, Charlotte, Bianca is the three-way.
Okay.
For the title, and then who's the other champion? Rhea. Who's Rhea feuding with?
I don't know.
No one
I think maybe she'll face Raquel. I'm not sure.
Okay, yeah. Who's also a tag champ right now.
So.
Yeah. But EO Bayley, you've got a month to get there. They seem to be kind of back on.
What about Trish Becky?
Trish Becky's going to be SummerSlam as well.
Yeah.
I do think SummerSlam's looking pretty good.
I'm trying to think of what else happened that I watched. I guess that's about it. I would be interested if EO had a big SummerSlam match, because we're going to that. There's rumors that it's DIY versus Kevin and Sami at SummerSlam, and I would lose my mind. That would be definitely worth the drive over to Detroit, because that dream match.
That sounds great.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, I don't know how they get there, but like that sounds really good.
Let's get there soon. Let's get there quick, people.
Yeah.
We got this. That'll make an amazing show-stealing match if that can happen. DIY versus the best friends there. But WWE, I don't watch a whole lot of. I don't watch Raw. I still skip it and watch it on Twitter or Threads now, Instagram. I love they clip it and YouTube it and all that. SmackDown has the big storylines, but I don't think SmackDown's been the wrestling show for a little while now. So I definitely just check out like the segments that I want to. Like I watched Grayson and Edge with you, but I know that their pay-per-views deliver. Money in the Bank prove that again. Like their big shows delivers. So whatever it is that they put out for SummerSlam, I'm expecting it to be pretty good.
And thank you, KB, for the $2 Australian.
Wow.
Says, how about Grayson, Cena at O2, and Edge in MSG in 1 week? That is pretty huge.
Yeah.
Working two, like, very famous venues against two of the top guys.
Yeah, you're doing a segment with Cena, the be all end all, and then Edge in Madison Square Garden having a match. I mean, pretty good, man. So, Aussie.
Wait.
Yeah, we're gonna get that Aussie Mania. Hold on for it, KB. I know you're waiting for it.
WrestleMania 50.
WrestleMania 50 in Melbourne, Brisbane, Sydney.
Yeah.
One of those things.
All of them do the like simulcast. How about
They should do that
all
again.
over
Yeah, I think that would work. I
don't think so.
People would be so mad that like one match is over
Yeah.
there and not the one I'm going to.
Well, do you remember that Raw? They did
Yeah,
that, and it was dire.
It's like, hey, everyone, we're gonna do classic Raw, but you're anyone who's just here, you're gonna wait here for 3 hours, and the only thing you're gonna see is Road Dogg beat up FTR.
Jeez. Well, yeah, I think that's it for WWE.
Yeah.
Really. Let's get to the real stuff finally. Yeah.
Yeah.
Blue Cane.
Yeah. What the hell is going on with this Blue Cane
Guy's
guy?
taking the world by storm.
By Snow.
By Snow. Sorry. Yes.
So this guy on Twitter, he's Blue Cane at Blue Cane _, and he wrote a little bio here actually for anyone who's wondering what Blue Cane is. So he's a guy who's basically, think of Kane, but he's blue.
Yeah. Like old Cane.
Yeah. Remember the rumors of Blue Cane? Now they've come true.
It was Green Cane.
Green Cane?
Green
Oh,
DX
so this
Cane.
is Blue Cane.
Yeah.
I used to be a cryogenics expert, but I was caught in a laboratory mishap while attempting to cure my terminally ill wife. The accident drastically lowered my body temperatures to sub-zero levels and gave me ice powers, forcing me to wear a cryogenic suit in order to survive.
It's brilliant. I love it.
And yes, that has, and I know what you're thinking, but no, that is not the character plot of Mr. Freeze. Not at all. It is Blue Cane.
It's Blue Cane.
He tweeted it.
I haven't watched this Blue Side of the Ring yet. Have you?
Is it?
It's like a fake documentary. You've got like
about Blue Cane.
Vader Scott, Laver Bates on there talking about, and it's shot with like the actors playing the like.
Oh yeah,
like,
yeah.
Wrestling part.
Yeah.
And it's all about Blue Cane. I've got to watch this after.
Tonight's forecast. A freeze is coming.
Yeah, he said in reply to, "Isn't this just the backstory of Mr. Freeze?" He's actually based off of my real life.
Yeah. Mr. Freeze is based on Mr.
Wow.
Blue Cane.
So, yeah, Blue Cane. Are we getting? They're gonna retry that Kane versus Kane match from Vengeance
May 19th.
But
Yeah. Fake imposter Kane versus Red Kane versus Blue Cane.
And
So is this Blue Cane like more liberal? I don't know.
I guess so. Yeah, that makes sense.
He doesn't like Red Cane
Yeah,
too much.
yeah.
Nobody likes Red Cane
No one
anymore.
likes Red Cane
to be
anymore.
honest. Yeah.
And what? So Cardona's pitching for a match with him.
Yeah, he says if you can afford my rate to any promoter who wants to book me in Blue Cane. Warning, I'm not cheap.
Which means like Jericho's gonna try and get on it soon, right?
I mean, how long
Jericho, what is hot right now?
Blue Cane?
Blue Cane Jericho.
Tony, book him. Is like that's got to be
That
some...
would get those numbers for Collision.
I think they'd get sued. I think that would. You can't just take a character.
Fuck it.
No, it's Blue Cane.
DK's got money.
It's like wait, this character that we own, we can't just let you. No, it's not the same character. It's Blue Cane. It's like they would get in trouble, I think. But yeah, Blue Cane coming soon to an indie fed near you.
And then Blue Cane's throwing them off the stage in a wheelchair.
That's been the
right,
promotion
right,
they've been
right,
teasing. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So he said, "I'll throw you off the stage if they even have stages at indie shows." But
Yeah. Some do.
Yeah. We're going to an indie show.
Oh.
We're going to Demand Lucha. They're doing another show in Toronto for any of you Toronto peeps out there. It's a Rare Sunday show. I think on July 23rd at the famous Lee's Palace. So for
okay.
any local GTA people, you see us we see a lot of our listeners and followers at Demand Lucha as of late, and we will be there on Sunday the 23rd. So go get your tickets now, and I know tickets are at the door, but we will be there. Gringo Loco is going to be there. Effie's going to be there. There's a few people I'm not super familiar with, so I'm super excited. This is Brian Keith guy. He looks like he's wearing a cowboy hat or something.
Didn't he play Budweiser stage the other day?
No, different guy. Yeah,
okay.
That was Eric Church.
Okay.
Looked like him though.
Yeah.
So we'll be going to that. Trying to think of other wrestling. We're taking a break, but then we're going to SummerSlam. We're doing All In. We have a lot of wrestling coming up this summer.
Hell yeah.
Is it not slowing down at all?
Nope.
Any other bits and bobs? I did tune into the deathmatch tag team match. I made you watch that.
Yes.
While you I'm at home and I'm like, I'm gonna work later. I put on John Moxley and John Moxley and Homicide versus El Desperado and Jun Kasai in the New Japan Strong Japan show. One of the two shows they did. I'm a huge fan of Jun Kasai, deathmatch legend, icon, king, and this match was as violent as I thought it was gonna be. But as I'm putting it on, you're like making dinner before you're going to work. So you're like preparing food. You're doing one of your food boxes things. Yeah. I'm watching this violent match, and while you sit down right next to me and you're eating like your shrimp and rice with a fork, you're kind of sitting next to me. And in my vision, in my peripherals here, I got you using your fork to eat your shrimp while I'm watching Jun Kasai stab John Moxley with a fork, and then John Moxley stabs him in the ear with it. And while he's doing that, you're eating shrimp, and I'm like, ugh. I was like, how do you not? How are you unfazed?
I
by
watch
this?
a lot of wrestling. Like, you're so desensitized by it now, where like
I
can watch skewers in John Moxley's head as I'm just
as you're eating shrimp skewers. Yeah, it's fine. This guy was scraping his armpit with a fork, and you're like, this shrimp's pretty good. This is.
I don't understand how skewers stick in the head.
No,
because I've not got much skin, or there's no skin or fat.
Is it like slide underneath? Like how
there's
does this?
Nothing there.
How do the skewers stay in so perfectly?
Is it just going in his skull?
I don't know how they stay in so well. Like they flop around.
They get like a handful. And...
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. It's terrifying. I love it.
Yeah, it's kind of weird.
I love.
It's not really
that.
for me.
Is like Jun Kasai got a pretty big pop. I wonder if they bring him in for more stuff in New Japan. It does not fit that style.
I mean, he's a legend. I think that's what was so interesting watching a New Japan presentation with this kind of match.
I think I need the singles match now, though. Mox and Jun.
Yeah.
Like 1-on-1. Let's see.
I think we'll get that.
Yeah.
Tokyo does.
Oh God, I don't know. That would be horrific. Like he brings out boards of forks and knives and
it's
like
bizarre.
It's crazy. So I don't know. I it's roadkill to me. Like I love it. I love it. I mean, no, I don't like roadkill. That's a bad, I guess, thing. Like I love this kind of shit. You can't look away. Is what I'm saying. Like it's terrifying and horrific, but I love watching it. So love that this week as well.
And thank you for the super chat, Cameron, who sent us £2.
Wow.
2 UK pounds, saying Dragunov versus Braun on Tuesday, lads. Yeah.
Yes.
Very pumped for that one.
Very hyped for that. Where do we see Great American Bash going? Is that a 3-way, I think?
I think so.
Yeah.
Or Ilya. Like Ilya, I kind of prefer Ilya. Ilya versus Melo.
Right, 1-on-1.
Yeah, but you could totally do the 3-way and then Braun leave after that.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's about it.
All right.
We got some other shows coming out this week. I think I might even be doing a detox. So join that Facebook page, like the page, Poisonrana, follow the page to the group. Follow us on Threads and Instagram, Twitter at PoisonRanaPod for updates of everything. But over on the Patreon, we got Vengeance, I mentioned. We got our Midsummer. We got a Was Next. And we have Ninja Turtles 2. So lots of shows coming out in this week over there. And it's only $5 to help us out and get access to all the podcasts at your pleasure. You can listen to them while you're driving, while you're in the shower. Doesn't matter. If you're listening to us on a podcast app, give us a nice little rating. Goes a long way. And we'll be seeing you around.
See you soon, guys.
Yeah. I myself, Braden Herrington, I'm on Twitter and Instagram at @TheBrady.
And you can find me at David Portman. Sorry, I said David. At Davie Portman.
Davie Portman. Whoa, who are you?
I don't know.
Who are you? And yeah, that's it. That's all. Take care. Goodbye, and be safe.
Ahoy!